Hello.
Hello. Just tell me that you can hear me
Yes, I
well.
can.
Okay, that means that my microphone is working. Yay!
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah? How these days been treating you? We've had a lot of energy in the air.
Yes, I have had a lot of energy. Actually, I've done quite a lot today.
Oh, interesting. So, do you want to present yourself?
Yes, of course. Well, it's my pleasure to be here with Yael. Thank you so much for inviting me. So, my name is Jelena. I'm from a tiny Eastern European country. I've been in the digital marketing space for over 10 years now. I've done every single thing under the marketing umbrella. Like, I've done network marketing, affiliate marketing, got certified as a business and marketing coach, and been a freelancer as well, built websites, funnels for clients, like written copy, and now I'm a business mentor, and my specialty is content marketing and everything to do with creating content that actually converts to clients and that gets seen online.
What was the biggest experiment you felt that you had to do as a third line in uh in marketing?
Oh, I think that's going to be the recent one, the Telegram event that I did last month. I did not know what to expect because I'm used to doing webinars and master classes and challenges and like these Facebook groups. And when I started promoting that, I was like, oh, I don't know if anybody's actually going to join, because it's one thing to get people to register, right, and show up for a masterclass, but it's a whole another thing to have people interact. So yeah, and it ended up being so much fun. It was so good.
It was, huh? It was super funny. I was there, and before the event even started, I'm like, Jelena, maybe we should do this. I was like, my third line is like, oh, maybe we should change this a little. You're like, it hasn't even started. Chill.
Yeah, yeah, I'm doing another one soon. So yeah,
Oh, that's
be
so
fun.
cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be in that one, no doubt. It's a fun space. It's a fun space. You guys should join. Even just for the kicks of it, I swear.
I mean, a lot of people had a lot of realizations, like about themselves, and it was very vulnerable. Like some people shared really personal stuff, so it's always like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like good, I guess, to hold a space where people feel safe to open up and not be judged or said anything like bad about them or whatever. Because it is hard to even like come out on life and like sometimes speak about yourself, right?
Yeah, I think that the thing with holding a space, and a lot of people say I hold a safe space, a no judgment space, but holding a non-judgment space, it means holding the people in that space accountable to not being judged, to not being judgy even. So you might not judge anybody, of course. From somebody that's holding the space, you're not coming from a judgment place, but somebody might bring their own little ego baggage, whatever, and they can start judging others.
Yeah.
And that's actually where the space holder is not just all, oh, lovey dovey. It's kind of like, no, not here.
Yep. I mean, gotta have boundaries.
Yeah, it's even more. It's okay. Having boundaries and holding them are kind of two different things, right?
Yeah.
So we can have boundaries, but then when it's uncomfortable, because for example, okay, we're like in business. Today we're talking business and human design, by the way, but we haven't said that. We haven't, because yeah, we are. And you want those clients to convert into clients in the end. So you're like, ooh, can I tell them off? Yes, that's the biggest favor we can do to somebody, to say, hey, no, no, no. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. And it's interesting because we encounter all sorts of spaces. I think in this time that we're living, that what is a safe space and what is a soft space are getting a little bit.
And it's very prominent in the coaching industry, especially because I've been in a lot of spaces where they say it's a safe space, but then behind the scenes the people get judged, and you're just like, okay, but how is it actually a safe place if you end up like gossiping or doing weird stuff behind the scenes?
Yeah, and it's in service providing as well. It's actually very strong there.
Yeah.
Like, I used to be a waiter for many years, and other things. I was a diving instructor too, and it doesn't pass any industry. In the front, people were being very kind to everybody, but in the back, it was like, oh, come on. And what is this? What are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. And I'm not saying everybody, I'm not saying every place, but it's holding yourself with a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? You know these ones.
Hypocritical.
Yeah, it's being hypocritical or actually having boundaries for yourself. I like, is this the person I want to be? Is this the person not only for others to look at me or how they perceive me? Is in the end of the day, and this was something that I used to teach my like the waiters that I would train. I would tell them, you need to go home with yourself, not the client. They continue their day, they go, they finish their meal, they do whatever they want, right? But you're going home with yourself. And you need to
Mm-hmm.
look yourself in the mirror and say, oh, yeah, today I was talking about this person behind their back. Today I was judging this guy, and oh my God, he did this and that. I'm like, yeah, that's you. That's a you problem, not they problem.
Yep. Yeah, because there are some people who, like, I don't want to speak too much about this, but um there's this lesson that I learned in network marketing days, right? Wherever you are, wherever you go, there you are. Because when you constantly say, oh, like this person is a problem, this person is a problem, that person's a problem, like if you have like a lot of fallouts with people in the industry, in the like, could be a service provider industry, could be like online coaching industry, then the question is, are you really are those people the problem or are you the problem? Right? So like,
And it's okay for it to be a combination of both
yeah.
sometimes. But if it's a pattern, it's recurring, it's you're in the same place, you have not gotten the message, you're still not like listening, then you're going to experience it again and again and again, and it's going to get more and more painful. And our go to, because of the social conditioning that, well, everybody has, why should I take responsibility? No, 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 no. It's not my fault. It's their fault. And where does it start? When we're really young. You're
Yeah.
going to crack up from this one, okay? You remember when we were really young, like babies starting to walk, and you bump into a table. What do your parents do? Bad table. Not like it's okay. We have a limit to our bodies. Sometimes this happens. I bump into a table too sometimes. No, none of that. Bad table. I'm like, what the fuck did that table do to you?
Oh my gosh, that's such, wow, yeah.
I had that realization a few years ago that I was like, it's all about that poor table. He's conditioned all of us.
Yeah, that's some deep conditioning because yeah, like the moment you say that to a child, then they grow up with that in the back of their minds and they're like, oh, so every single obstacle is bad.
Yeah. And now we are in this place where, so when the new age started surfacing, it came with a lot of good intention, right? A lot of different practices. But what happened is anything not to feel bad. This is what
Hmm.
we're looking at. People do not want to be, they think they don't want to be challenged. They actually do. We all want to be challenged because then we can say, oh, I did it. Yes, I did it. But if you don't go through the challenge and you don't look the challenge in the eye and say, hi, you challenge me right now. This is challenging. I don't like this. You're allowed not to like it, but you still do it. So, what got you super interested in marketing?
It kind of happened. I don't want to say randomly, but I was in this network marketing business, right? Selling, I think it was like weight loss pills and skincare. I don't know what I was doing selling that though, because I was 18 years old. Like, why would I sell skincare? I mean, I was like using the weight loss pills because I was like, oh, like I want to lose a little bit of weight. But I mean, I've always been sort of skinny, so it didn't like I didn't have like a like fat to skinny story to share to sell. Like, hey, like this product did this for me. Um, but basically what happened was I was talking to all of my friends, my high school friends, my like friends outside of school. I was talking to my teachers about it. I prospected my teachers for, like, I told them about the products, and I was a straight A student, so everybody was like, what are you doing with your life? You have to go to college, you'll get all these like best scholarships, you can go to the best school, but I never knew what I wanted to study, right? I was like this creative person. I'm like, oh, I just want to be a fashion designer, right? Then I was like, oh, like maybe something more serious, maybe law. But me and law, well, maybe I could be a good lawyer, but it just wasn't for me, right? It's like
Space
I
for
can't
me.
have like that serious face. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Then I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to study computer programming because I was kind of good at it at school. It was a very useful skill actually that I've learned in high school. We've had this like computer programming classes. We learned WordPress. I already knew Photoshop because I learned that when I was like 11 or 12. And then yeah, we learned how to build WordPress websites. So it was kind of cool. Probably like more, I learned more there than I would have I would have learned a lot more in university. But anyway, long story short, I realized that I don't have anybody to talk to about the business or these products, and I didn't know what to do. So I went online and I was like, okay, how the heck do I build this? And I found some resources. Of course, I went to YouTube and I was looking at how to make money online. Then I realized, oh, there's lead generation, content creation, and mind you, that was 2014. There
Yeah,
was like not as many resources. It was like dinosaur era, right? So like we had YouTube, we had Facebook, Instagram, where there was no reels, no live stream. Live stream was only became a thing in 2016.
really.
Um, so that I think that's when I went. I think the first time I went live on Facebook was February 9, 2016. So yeah, I just realized early on, I'm like, oh, so I need to do this marketing thing because if I can't sell to anybody offline because my network is very tiny, and nobody really understands what is going on here. So I was like, okay, online, build an audience, and mind you, I'm Russian, so literally my entire connections on Facebook, they were a bunch of people from like summer camps, a bunch of people from school, my teachers, they're still following, they're still liking some of my posts occasionally. And I was like, okay, so I need to get some balls to be posting in English because immediately people thought, oh, who does she think she is? So that's kind of how I got into marketing, and then I started building my Facebook community. So it was, when I say I built it from zero, I mean I built it from nothing.
That's actually super interesting to think about it because your profile is 1-3, right? You're the
Hmm.
investigator and the heretic. Come on, come on. The martyr, sorry. But no, it's like you see the thing and you can really research it deeply. Now, how long can you sit on one thing? Like, how long would you say that is like one of your like? Well, you send me on like on rabbit holes by a little post. Oh, I saw this, and I'm like, oh shit.
Oh, well, it depends because I can be hyper fixated on something. I think, well, there was something that I went down the rabbit hole quite recently. It took me, if I say from start to finish, yeah, I can sit on something for 2 hours. Like I'm very good at focusing on something. Even though I do have apparently signs of ADHD, so I can jump from one topic to another, and I can have like a gazillion tabs open until my computer stops loading them, and then I have to actually close them.
Oh, I
Um,
don't know that experience at all.
yeah, imagine. That's what I had to do before this live,
Yeah, me too. When you wrote me, I'm like, you know what? I'll just start closing some tabs here.
just in case. Yeah,
Action, yeah.
but yeah, I would say two, maybe 3 hours before I get bored or before I get distracted by something. Yeah, I can like I've gone down the rabbit holes on Twitter, like in 2020, 2022, like during that era. It was really interesting. I learned a lot about the world.
It's so amazing to see like investigators that have their defined agenda, so you can actually stay concentrated on on the rabbit in the hole for a long time. Because I have a suspicion that actually social media makes a lot of us have these kind of more ADHD kind of because the way the algorithm works and all of those
Mhm.
things, right? And you said recently that you did something with your marketing and your human design. Would you like to explain?
Yeah, so last year I decided that I wanted to rebrand. I, I decided that I wanted to rebrand and do something like fun with my marketing, right? Because I've always kind of had like this generic brand, like I'm a content strategist, business mentor, this and that. But there's a gazillion people, like that. And I've always funnily enough, I've always struggled with coming up with names for like programs, events, like this Telegram events, masterclasses. I was never good at names. So thank God for ChatGPT, because that really helps with brainstorming. But before that, it was a struggle. But I was like, there's got to be a way to really simplify this. And I went down this rabbit hole of like a themed brand, another rabbit hole, right? And I was like, there's got to be something that I can create with my brand, because when you look at your human design, and then I also looked at my personality, and I'm like, it is so accurate, because I've always been fascinated by human design. But then, and I had like some readings and like explanations of who I am and what it means for my business. One of my previous coaches, she was actually quite deep into human design, so it was like cool to kind of like dissect it. Because when I saw Investigator in it last year, it literally clicked, and I went down another rabbit hole. I was like, oh, wait a second, I can build a brand around this like investigator theme. Because for example, there are brands that you can build based on research. So I recently saw a video, I think it was on TikTok, and somebody was like, oh, how do I start making money online as a beginner? And there was this video explainer of if you don't have any sort of experience whatsoever, like you don't have results, you don't have client results, like how do you start, right? And that's actually how I started. I was researching everything about marketing. I was learning the lead generation, content creation, online marketing, YouTube, podcasting. Like I was learning every single strategy under the sun. And then I was just sharing that knowledge. That's how I started initially. And that's something that people can do today as well. Now, it has to be done with integrity. You have to actually dedicate time to research, and then share your findings as well. But I was like, oh, like Investigator. And I was like, wait a second. So I'm like, I can actually build a brand around the private investigator, kind of like a theme. And I did an entire photo shoot around that last year. I traveled to Vietnam to do that. So that was like one of the most fascinating
What?
experiences.
I didn't know that you traveled to do them.
Yeah. So I was working with a coach last year, and yeah, she's based in Vietnam. So I traveled there because she was like, oh, why don't you come here and we can do the photo shoot and this and that. So yeah, it was there.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
And it's so crazy because the photographer was not speaking English at all, like zero English. But his communication was on point.
Yeah, and then you discover that communication has nothing to do with words
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, he was very good at like directing, and I remember we said it like as a joke. English was zero, communication was 100.
Yeah, it's that's kind of the communication I have with my landlord. It's all very concept wise. It's like you understand, and I'm like you understand, and I'm like Greek zero is like English zero. I'm like,
Oh my god. Hey, as long as it works.
thank God for Google Translate.
Yeah, no, seriously. So yeah, that's kind of how the brand came about. I literally looked into my human design and I was like, wait, I'm actually really good at this stuff, like investigating, no matter what topic that is. So when you embody who you are based on your human design, you can do this. And I know you recently played with AI with
Oh,
your
I did, and it
brand.
was so fun. And so the first time that I kind of figured out that Jelena has chosen a theme, I think I wrote you, "Oh my God, Veronica Mars."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, you can see. Oh, you understand it." And I'm like, "Come on, what do you mean?" It was a funny conversation. I remember that.
Yeah.
And
But
that
it
was
simplified
actually
it
inspired me
simplified things so much.
because I believe there's a lot of freedom between the lines, right? So when
Mhm.
you kind of know where you're playing, and even when you're having a personal brand, when you're having a business, you want to have somewhere to play around with, so you can
Mhm.
get more playful. Because if it's like you can have any expression and any creation in any way possible, it doesn't go anywhere. You kind of get into this paralysis at some point. You're like, whoa, is everybody noticing this is not going anywhere? Yeah.
It's the community.
But it looks like just like bumpy. I can see myself, so I can see it. But and it's beautiful because when you find a way to express yourself in the way that works for you, for your brand, because our brand has a character on its own, right? I think we've talked about it quite a few times that
Yeah, yeah,
there's this whole concept of like, you are your brand. Like,
yeah.
no, no, thank you.
No, the brand is definitely separate. I used to believe that you are your brand, but then yeah, like the problem is we attach too much value and too much worth, like self-worth to that, and then when something doesn't work, we like start beating ourselves up, which I've done in the past as well. So totally guilty of that.
Which is super interesting because like when you're looking at it through the human design lens, it's like putting something putting yourself in something that is outside of you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think about a brand, okay, a lot of people think about a brand, they think about like a logo, right?
Yeah.
Think about that. And essentially, you are saying, I'm the logo. No, you're not. You're a full person with a full personality and a lot of them happening at the same time. You
Yeah.
don't know. Yelena has a
Thank
lot
you.
of like very strong activations. It's like you can feel it from her. One of the things that I feel with Yelena a lot of the time is like I can get confused. I will ask you a question and it's almost like you're like, like I made I think a story about this 2 days ago because I talked to you about something and I felt like you just took a little hammer and you're like, okay, let's just screw your head back into place. It's okay. It was like a beautiful day. One girl did this to me, kind of put my head back into place, and then you just went like, okay, now everything makes sense. Something techy or something probably. And it's beautiful to see because you see, so for those of you who didn't understand yet, and you don't guess it, Jelena is a generator. Like, come on. You can
Yeah.
see that sacral energy, and you can see how I'm responding to her, right? Because I'm a projector. As a projector, I'm responding to her sacral. But she has a root. When the root is defined, you feel grounded around these people. It's nice, so nice. Especially with my nicely open root. Yeah, we're vibing here. And oh wow, you actually activate my sacral, by the way.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you connect my sacral, which thank you very much.
You're welcome. I love how you shifted so much. When we first met, you were like, I don't want to work with generators. And I was like, wait a second. What do you mean? We're awesome. You just need to find the right people. So I love the journey that you have been on as well.
It was actually really interesting because I was thinking about it and starting to play around it with it when we met the first time, and just meeting you kind of made me go like, hold on. First of all, is it generators or is it something else?
Mm.
And guess what it was? Oh, we
Well,
started with that boundaries.
oh,
Boundaries, because I do not have a sacral defined. So those activations can work when you're working with somebody or you're talking to somebody that has some ground to them. For example, and now we're going to go extreme. If you were a manifesting generator, it would be a little bit confusing
mm.
because manifesting generators are powerhouses. They go all in every direction at the same time. And me with my defined ego, I'm kind of going like, slow down because I can go very fast, but my defined ego will activate somebody else to go super fast. And it's funny, like most people with defined egos are like going like, okay, whatever you're doing, like chill, chill, like slow down. It's okay. You have nothing to prove. I do, and I'm still sitting. So what are we talking about here? And that's how it works, right? Because we mirror each other, we connect each other when we have an open center, and we're meeting somebody that has that center defined. It's interesting. The person with the open center is going to be acting like they have it defined, but in a very scattered way. Have you ever noticed how projectors move in a space when there's a
Yeah.
lot of generators? It's almost like they're uh, I think one of my favorite things is to watch a projector walk into a room because they kind of go like, okay, that looks safe.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things that I was called a lot when I was younger, they thought that I was judgy because I would stand and look until I kind of saw where do I fit? Where can I kind of like, hey, what I'm here to do?
I've had this happen to me, but I think for my case, it was more about my Eastern European face and just like being like, having like a straight face, and people are like, "Oh, you're so judgy. Like, why do you look at me like that?" And I'm like, I don't know, it's just my face. But yeah, in human design, that's another thing.
It's interesting because I think that a lot of women have that. Well, we're gonna call it what it is, are we not?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a resting bitch face. A lot of people, a lot of women that I know, we all have that, and I think that people confuse the resting bitch face with a thinking face. Like when I was thinking and I was really concentrated, I remember this in Germany. My neighbor or something, she was like, "Oh, you have like a really resting bitch face." I'm like, "I'm just thinking. I'm sorry. I'm concentrated. I'm listening. I'm like, and it's kind of not okay for us to look like that. Why? Ah, expectations, social expectations, conditionings. But you were able to actually break free from all the limitations that they told you you had.
yeah, because people have always not have always said, but in general, I've always been afraid of like doing something wrong. And it literally came from school, like being a straight A student and all of these, like it was so scary actually at one point, like raising my hand because I was like, oh, what if I say something and it's not actually the answer? Because like the expectations are high of
Mm-hmm.
somebody, like, or of me in that case, and I'm like, oh, what if I mess up? And that kind of stuff does translate to business as well. So again, it all goes from childhood.
Oh, wait a second. So how does that? How would you say that would translate into business? Because that's an interesting expression.
So, for example, I was recently at a big conference, AdCon, right? And sometimes um, the speaker or the MC, they would ask like a question, and it's not necessarily like a right or wrong question, but it's like, what's your biggest takeaway? Or they may start a speech and they're like, so what do you think is the cause of XYZ, right? And it's like in marketing. And I would usually try, like now I'm trying to like yell out the answer. And I think this time I yelled something and it was correct. And I was like, oh, okay, so I do know the shit that I'm working in, right? Like I do know marketing. But yeah, like it used to be my fear because when I first started going to this conference, well, should I say restarted going to these conferences, because I've gone to a lot of events until 2019, 2018, and then there was like this big gap. And then 2022, I picked up and I was like, okay, I'm going to go to an event to the UK. I didn't know anybody there. It was like a whole different community. Um, and I remember seeing people with like friends and like groups of people, and I was just there, like literally standing and like observing, like with my resting beach face, like what is going on here. And I remember like being there, and a speaker would ask something, and I would be like, oh, I don't know if I want to raise my hand. Like I don't know if I'm like bold enough to like speak up. And like that was already me who, like I've had like a decent brand at the time. But even still, like deep down, I was like, oh, what if I say something wrong? Like I don't want to look stupid. Like so, in business that shows up.
It's so interesting because I posted a question in a group a while ago, and I asked it, well, how do we deal with disappointment? Actually, so a lot of people said, oh, I get really angry, I get really mad, but only in closed doors. Here's the thing: when we are not in full control, we don't know, and things like we don't like other people to see when we're making a mistake. Behind closed doors, we're like a little bit more compassionate towards it. We're like, okay, it happens. We give ourselves a lot of interesting explanations. Um, but in public, it's unbearable. It's almost like, oh no, I'm human. No, they know it now. Because that's our relationship with mistakes in public. Because we want to keep the face, we want to be presentable, we want to control how people perceive us.
Yeah, cannot control that.
No, it's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your third line as your non-conscious, like as your from your body, the trial and error, right? And I have it from my personality. I make mistakes as a habit. It's like I have to make the mistakes because we can't learn. And let's be honest, like we don't really learn from other people's mistakes. It doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
We're like either we're giving them full control We're like, oh, whatever you say, you're the God and you're going to save me. So we fall into that, save me so I don't make the mistakes. Or we're like, well, I got to try it on my own. Like, it's cute. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to go and try it on my own. I'm like, I don't believe it. That was one of the things that I would have conversations with my parents. They were like, but I'm telling you, this is the way it is. And I'm like, okay. He's like, and my dad would look at me like, you're not gonna. I'm like, no, that's your experience, not mine. You're not me. Don't compare me. I hate being compared.
Yeah, no, that's true. Because I've always believed that we learn a lot more from our mistakes than from our successes. Like when you get the success, you're like, oh yeah, this worked, amazing. But then when you make a mistake, and like you said, not learning from a mentor who made a mistake, because we all have different experiences. And just because somebody made a mistake, and I do say this in my marketing as well, come learn from my mistakes, because I can tell you like what worked and what didn't work, but at the same time a lot of the things like that could be either outdated or they're old, or let's say if I made a mistake in, I don't know, like a piece of content or something 5 years ago, it's not really relevant anymore. So like we need to make sure that what we're sharing and the mistakes that we're making are also kind of relevant to the clients that we're working with.
Of course, because when you think about it, okay, you made a mistake or you had something that was successful. Success lasts for this amount of time in your memory. It doesn't get registered as a very important event. Does that make sense when I say it that way?
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to mistakes, this is where your Veronica Mars comes out. Everybody's Veronica Mars comes out then. And it's kind of like, okay, why didn't this work? Where did it work? How did it work? Da, 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 and you start taking apart piece by piece by piece by piece. You actually spend the time to understand what the hell, what just happened, and more
Yep.
importantly, why. But why? We don't usually rest until we don't get our whys in place. I would
That's
say,
true.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
because the brain is a curious thing, right? It always wants to find the patterns and the reasons why, like it always wants to close the loop, right? When something didn't work, it's like, okay, but like you said, why did this not work? What was the reason? Like was it my mistake? Was it another mistake? Was there like something in the universe, or like something with, I don't know, like tech, for example, if it's something related to technology?
we love when
Um
it's tech. We love when it's tech.
oh yeah.
It's easier. It's the computer's fault.
It always is.
It always is. You see, it's so easy. Now, the mistakes that you make or the mistakes that I make can be very different, and we will learn different things from it. We need to understand that we all have like a sort, let's call it a divine plan right now, right? Divine failure plan to make all of these mistakes so we can get up, so we can prove to ourselves that yeah, you can, yeah, you want it, yeah, you believe in it. And every person has their design. Not all generators, what you are explaining is going to resonate with them. And what I explain does not resonate with all projectors. I'm an energetic projector, for example. Okay, I don't need to rest for 90% of the day. No, I don't. I don't do that. You know. And it's not working for me. You know how to fix it. This is something that I love about Jelena. She is really able to give really clear instructions. And that gives me a lot of breathing air, because even if I think it was a few days ago I sent you a really messed up message like this, but you kind of went like, okay.
This is actually how my brand also kind of came about. One time a client told me, she compared me to some sort of movie character who's like looking at the big like board, and has like all the information is scattered, and I just like put everything together into a cohesive plan. So I'm like, yeah, I think that's my zone of genius. So what you said is right.
It's interesting because I have that with people's emotions. They can spit a lot of different emotions, and now I'm gonna go like it's almost like my mind goes like zoop, 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 zoop. Okay, got it. I don't know if it's my mind, my emotions, a combination of all of them. But we need to remember, like, our design is unique, and it's unique only to us, which is something that most of us really like. Besides the
Hmm.
differentiation, oh my god, that is so romantic. But that's what it is, right? Oh, I never noticed this about your design. Oh my God, you have one of the most interesting designs that I've seen in a while.
Really.
Yeah. How is your decision making process?
I'm like one of the biggest overthinkers in general, and I've always been that way. But the business did teach me that sometimes you have to make quick decisions and be okay with them. And not in that sense, not in any crazy sense. Like when it comes to let's say let's compare two things that honestly should not be compared.
Yep.
Buying a house,
Yeah.
it's not a quick decision, right? So in that case, yeah, I would overthink. But let's say if I'm going to a restaurant with a friend, right, and we're trying to decide what food we want, I usually look at the menu beforehand. Like let's say we choose a menu, like we choose a place, like let's say we go to a sushi place,
Yep.
and I always look at the menu ahead of time because I'm like I want to know like do I actually like what's on the menu. We've done this with one of my friends multiple times. She also looks at the. I'm curious what her human design is now, because she would also look at the menu and see like if there's like something for her diet and whatever. Um, and yeah, like when we get to the restaurant, if I like a lot of things and I just can't choose because some restaurants have like massive menus, and I'm like, okay, so why do we have all of this? And then I'm like, if I'm torn between five different meals, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna choose one and be happy with it.
Oh, okay. So you fool your brain. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it because it's so interesting. Because when you have like a big life decision, it's almost like it's not almost. It's exactly. You have like three options that are running at the same time. Have you ever heard about the splits in human?
Mm-mm.
So you have a triple split.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of you're gonna have like three things that are pulling at you in the same time in different directions. Like,
Oh,
and then it's
that
kind of
explains a lot of things.
yeah, right. It pulls you, and it's almost like you have somebody looking around your shoulder and kind of go, "What's your problem? Just choose." But at least you have like a sacral, like that gives you like a little bit of hints in the way.
Yeah, because I've always trusted my gut and my intuition. Because I don't remember the last time it failed me. I don't think that ever happened.
It's
So
not
that
supposed to.
sacral energy is yeah. We love that.
Yeah, it's not supposed to. It's such a nice guide to have that and to when I think that when generators start allowing the hums, the sacral to communicate verbally, it's like they start enjoying their own like vibe.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost I can almost find it like a wave, but that's because I'm emotional. I'm like, oh, it's very creative, it's very ooh, flowy. No, it's not emotional, yeah. It's just business. No, it is. What do you think about that statement, by the way? That business is not emotional.
I think I've been emotional a lot about the business in general, and I think it's okay to feel the emotions because let's say when you're frustrated, like I'm not gonna pretend like everything is okay, right? Like I just like I've always been the person to I'm just gonna feel it out. If I feel like crying, I'm gonna go and cry. If I feel like I don't know, like yelling into the pillow, yeah, like I can go and do that. I wish there was a forest closer so I could like I don't know go yell in the forest or something sometimes. But
Talk to a tree.
yeah, or like go hug a tree, hug like a birch. But yeah, I do feel like I mean it's okay to get emotional, but I don't let my emotions dictate like what I do in business. So for example, if I had like a flopped launch or something, I try to look at it from an objective side of things. Like okay, so what again I'm trying to close the loop and figure out why didn't it work, like what did work, what didn't work, and look at it from like a marketer's perspective. Like okay, so I've got this data and here's how I can use it to improve the next time, right? So from that sense, I'm trying not to be emotional at all, because I've been emotional about
Hmm.
launches in the past, and then I would be like, oh, like this doesn't work. Who am I to be doing this kind of stuff? It was a pattern in the past multiple times, but yeah, like it's okay to feel the emotions, but not like make yourself a victim.
Yeah, because I think what you're describing is not making it personal.
Hmm.
I think there's a difference between being emotional about your business and feeling what you're feeling right now because we are allowed to feel like this is the whole point of this series. We are human, real humans, not just a brand or just a face or just a recorded video, right?
Yep.
We are real humans and we can feel all the feels. It doesn't mean anything about us. It doesn't mean, I think my favorite one is, it doesn't mean that the algorithm hates us.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that the algorithm is like trying to like screw you over.
No, it's not like, oh, you specifically because you chose black and not pink. Like you. I don't like you with your blackness. I don't like you with your pink. No, come on. It's like, it's just it's technology. It's literally technology that we are so good at not understanding because our brains are not wired for that. For
Yeah, and
now,
also like there's so many robots on the internet right now. Like there's artificial intelligence. Like it's really hard to reach any customer support a lot of the times. So and like the algorithm, it's not against us. It's like a robot with a bunch of like algorithm like written or like a bunch of code written into it. So the way that it reads our content and the way that it ranks our content, I mean, we can't really yell at anybody.
no, we can't. Even though when I get really annoyed with AI, I start yelling at him. I'm like, you don't get to talk to me this way.
Oh yeah, I cursed at my chat GPT as well. I did apologize just in case after. Just in case, in case of a robocalypsis or something.
I know, because they're talking about it.
Yeah. So I usually try to say please and thank you, and then yeah, like sorry if I like hurt your feelings.
I think that I give it a lesson in the wow. I think that when it, this whole thing of like, you're not broken, nothing is wrong with you, that they like
Yeah.
looping, and I'm like, you don't get to do that. This implements this in the human brain. Let me give you a little, and I'm saying this to ChatGPT, and let me give you a little lesson of neuroscience, okay? This is how it works. This is what you're doing. You're not allowed to do this. This is really irresponsible, blah, 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 blah. Am I clear that this is the last time you're doing this? Like, I let my teacher just go on a rant. And then I hope I didn't hurt your feelings, but please take this in advisement because next time this will happen, you will hear this again.
That's a good one.
Yeah, because I noticed this is like a lot in communication that we were saying that you don't need specific words, but this whole trend of you're not broken, have you ever read the Four Agreements, the book?
No, but I do know what it is about.
But you know the concepts, right?
Mhm.
So be impeccable with your word. Or when, so parents can say something inappropriate or not in place to their kid, but this is going to start becoming an agreement, right? Because people curse us, is what they say. It's a curse. They say this enough times and it will go into our brains. This is how conditioning happens 101. Like, sorry if nobody knew. And the only way to break out of it is to do it even though it feels wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying do bad things, but even though it feels wrong to I'm trying to find an example. Even though it feels wrong to say what you want and you know it's not going to land, but at least you think you know. You don't know what you don't know. That's easy. You say it anyway, even if it backfires, even if, because that's how we break free from conditioning. We get ourselves in a place that we have different experiences now. Now we have a different experience to tie back to, like, oh, so I'm allowed to say what I think, and like, and the whole place is not going to blow up in flames. That's nice. It does take some time, though. You do need to be brave to do it shaking. Like anything new that we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
We start really like peeing our pants. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! What are they gonna think about me? What are you gonna do? Oh my god! Oh my god! And it's the same with when you post the first time.
Yep. And we generally suck at everything when we just get started. And it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's like drawing, whether it is painting, whether it is speaking a language, whether it is like doing a video, like even I'll give a super specific example. Last year I started a podcast and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I've had like a general knowledge, but I didn't understand all these hosting platforms and this and that. And in the beginning, I was really trying to have like a proper script, even though like I don't always follow them, but I was like, I just want to have a structure. I want to make sure my speech is well. I want to make sure that what I'm saying is like, because it's audio, right? So I'm like, I want to make sure people understand it has to be polished and this and that. And it took me so long to record the initial episodes. Well, I think, but for my standards, it took me a long time. I recorded, I think, 13 episodes in about 3 weeks. So it's pretty fast in general, but I was like, oh, I could have been faster. I think, and a lot of episodes, they were like 30 minutes. Some were like 45. And they were both video as well. So like I've had my camera in there. And it took me a while in the beginning to set it up and then have the software and like make sure everything is like synchronized, because I've had like the methods to the madness. And then as I kept recording and I kept kind of like, I guess, like mastering the workflow, I became faster. I'm like, oh, like if I have 3 episodes in my brain, and I started shortening them as well, because I'm like, I don't want to be doing 45-minute episodes because it's a lot of editing. Like today I recorded a 10-minute episode and I'm like, okay, that's going to be a breeze to edit. So yeah, like the more I kept going and the more I was like, oh, like I already have the system, I know what I'm doing, like this is like my SOP, like standard operating procedure. And yeah, then it becomes easier. The same thing with like drawing. I haven't picked up a pencil or a pen or like I don't know, like a paintbrush like in ages, and I was very rusty. Like I posted some of my like sketches a couple months ago, and I was like, oh, they suck, and people didn't think that, but I was like, no, they're rusty. And then like the more you keep going doing something, then the better you get at it.
It's called muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
Because at some point you do it on autopilot. I think I saw one of your reels today about that, like creating a video or creating social media post is like, it's like you do that after brushing your teeth, half asleep. Like you can do that. Like it's something that comes very natural to you because you got used to it.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning, when I started going on social media and I was like starting to create videos, I was excited to see myself in the camera. I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. It took me a while until I could actually record something that I felt comfortable enough to post, and I didn't feel comfortable with it, but I just posted it because I'm like, okay, like it's one post. Like,
yeah,
this is not my whole definition in life, you know? And sometimes we take things that are very small too serious, even though it's something that piles, right? You pile your posts, kind of, in a way. I don't know if that's a good description. You're better at explaining these things.
I think it's like what there's a book about that, the compound effect. So the more you do something, the more it, the more consistent you are at something, the bigger the results you're going to get. It's like a snowball effect as well. So it's like you keep building on top of each other. Yeah, because like the first videos that I've done, they were terrible. And like you're also not the native English speaker like myself, so it's like the language barrier is always there. So every time Americans complain, I'm like, look, you grew up with this language. I didn't. Like you don't get to make this excuse.
They complain on the language?
No, they like I've heard people complain. They're like, oh, I don't know how to do a video. It's so hard. Like, and I said to them, like, look at the camera. I know it's such a basic advice. It's a little bit stupid because it's like I've always said, like, talk to your camera like you would talk to a friend. And I never personally understood this piece of advice because I was like, it's like a dot over there. Like it's not a friend. Like and also for me, I don't talk to my friends in English. Well, back then I wasn't. Now my friends are English speakers. And I was like, for me, it was not natural. I'm like, you are actually talking to your friends and family in English. Get your face on camera. Like, and shut up. Well, open your mouth.
Well, one of the things that I did in the beginning, I printed a photo of one of my friends and I would put it behind the camera. I did it because I'm like, I can't imagine it. I know it feels awkward because I haven't like gotten used to it yet, but like everything else, we need to just do it in the beginning until we get used to it and comfortable with it. And we can not perfect it, but get to a better understanding of what do we actually want to do here. Because usually the fear of getting on camera and it's seeing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much on that, and like no, but I look in the mirror every day. Yeah, do you record it and share it with the world that you don't know where it's gonna land and who's gonna say what? because we know all of these lovely, lovely humans that like commenting lovely, lovely things.
Yep. Yep. Well, my classmates, a couple of years, not a couple of years ago, it's like 12, 10 years ago, they would leave like troll comments on my Facebook ads. So yeah, like it's never about the fear. Well, we as women also, I think we do care about our appearance, and like I want to make sure I look good, my hair looks good, because like I can see like, oh, like my hair is like frizzy, or like we see too much about ourselves that people don't even notice. Like for men maybe it's a little bit easier, they just like, I don't know, like clean
Well,
up
women
their
are firstly judged by their appearance. First, we are judged by our appearance, then after about what we say. This is how
yeah.
beautiful society has described it.
Yep. And then it's also like, okay, so even if I do look okay on camera, what if somebody starts to argue with me online?
I think that one of the things that I learned really early on, and I'm very grateful for that, is hide comment. Seriously, like, am I gonna now step into this defensive mode and protect my content, or am I just gonna let this person bye bye? And it's not because I don't care. Like, if they say something that makes sense to me, I will go and investigate. Is there something true there? And then come up with a comment. But in the moment, our egos get hurt. Firstly, our ego gets hurt because how dare you say something bad about something that I did and I think is good, right? But what you're naming is something really important because we do get judged by our appearance. Firstly, as
Yep.
women, it's like it's structured. It is structured. Uh, if you are wearing makeup, they will tell you you're wearing too much makeup. If
Yes.
you have a blue hat, they say you should not be wearing a blue hat. Oh, I think the one of my favorite trends was the nose ring that they said all women with nose ring, like with septums, are crazy or whatever. There was a trend on TikTok, and I was like, I'm loving this. This is so funny. Like you really have nothing else to do, people. Like what's happening?
Yeah,
But yeah,
or for example, speaking of the whole like judge on the appearance, and there is such thing as pretty privilege. I personally do believe that because it's been, some people say like, oh, yesterday I got a comment, right? That person actually deleted that comment, so I didn't even see the full conversation. There was like a whole discussion under my post. Somebody said it was a piece of like a written piece of content yesterday about how like you shouldn't rush the content creation, you should actually give it some thought so you can communicate what you do clearly. So it's basically about that, because there's a lot of like marketers and content coaches who say like, oh, I created 30 days of content in 15 minutes, and I'm like, well, that's not a flex. But anyway, there was somebody who commented under that post and said that, oh, like it must be easy because like you're so pretty, and I'm like, of course it came from a guy. And I'm like, first of all, it has nothing, my expertise has nothing to do with my face. Like it has more to do with like what's in my head. But people like judge, it's like they judge based on the appearance, and then like, oh, like you don't look good, like how dare you like talk about like skincare or something, right? And then there's the other side of the coin, it's like, oh, you're too pretty, so like, so
so
there's two sides.
it's a thing because first of all, it's true that we do firstly respond with our eyes.
Of course.
We know it, and that's okay. And the thing that I've noticed is, oh, this was my favorite. I think about 2 weeks ago, I had somebody go on like 3 or 4 of my videos and tell me that I look tired, and I'm like, thank you. What? Like, and it was like 3 different videos, and I'm like, why are you not sleeping? Like, and that is again just responding to your appearance because maybe when something that you said actually triggered. This is another thing that I've noticed for like, yeah, I go on very deep dives as well. And I've noticed that when especially when women say something that hurts somewhere badly, first thing they're gonna comment on their appearance. because they like people believe that we only judge ourselves based on our appearance. No, that is not the first thing that we judge. We do actually care how we function. We do actually care how we think, and how we look is the way that we kind of think that how we're perceived. We try to control it, and again, like this is another thing. And it's preferences, right? It's preferences. Like some people can say, "Oh, you wear a lot of pink. You're like very childish," and I'm like, "No, this is my expression. I like pink. It's happy. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different perspectives." And we need to remember that the person that is seeing our content or reading our content, they have their own glasses on of their experiences, how they perceive the world, and a lot of the time they let us know how limited they are in their mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I usually say it in a very let's say Eastern European way, is that some people, based on how they communicate and based on the things they say or the judgments they make, they really show us how many brain cells they have.
exactly, exactly. And the more we, I know that in the beginning, when you're starting to show up on social media, it's harder to kind of have like, oh, well, I don't want to be, yeah. But now that I've been around for at least 2 years now, I'm kind of going like, oh, I'm so happy I'm not your partner. Stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, I feel for you, but away, beast.
Yeah, because you kind of learn how to deal with it. Like in the beginning, I remember I was so butthurt when my classmates trolled my Facebook ads. I can't even remember what I said back then. I don't even remember if I responded because it like I was like what 21, so I was very young. So I was like,
Maybe.
yeah, I was a baby. I didn't know how to deal with criticism. I didn't know how to deal with haters. I've had like some people that there was somebody who called me a scammer, and I'm like, you don't even follow me. Like I was doing network marketing. There's like a running joke with somebody from the industry that I have that they were gonna like talk about me on the call, and I was like, and that call never happened. So anyway, so eventually you learn how to deal with that, and the best way is to always act with kindness. Like I can either troll back or I can act with kindness and say like, I wish you all the best. I hope you have a great day, because they don't know what to say. They get like they freeze. They're like, oh, like I can't say anything bad about this.
Yeah, kill them with kindness because there's no reason. The way that my ego likes to react to this, I will record a very long message to myself, getting all of that out. It's a really good exercise, by the way, for anybody that has like a lot of big emotions. Record something to myself, I send it, and now I'm like, okay, and now in public. You wouldn't say that on stage, would you? And when we start looking at social media as sort of you're on the stage while you have eyes on you. If you have a post and somebody comments on it, they're looking to see how you're going to react to that comment. And be kind, but don't let anybody push you over. Like we're not here to we're not gonna we don't support bullies. I'm sorry.
No.
That kind of gets me in like that. You know that song that's going on TikTok now? I'm gonna get in trouble. I want to have a fight. Na 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 na. That's gonna be. I have those days, and that's when I have a very long message to myself.
I send a lot of voice messages to my close friends, so they usually hear those voice messages first. So that's my coping mechanism.
And then there is a book, by the way, that is called Uplifting Communication.
Mm.
That is based on that. It essentially, I'm kind of gonna strip it very easily. It's about needing to have a space to let your animal out.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I think we're in this period where people don't want that. They don't allow themselves to express the anger, to express the thing because it's not cool. No, no, no. You should not be, you should never be angry. Excuse me? Am I a robot? No, I'm human. I'm human. Like we all get all the range of the emotions. and we all have all of the opportunities for all range of expressions. Like even when you're looking at branding, you can express yourselves plural in so many different ways, in different formats, in different times, right?
I just had a very random thought. I don't know if it's appropriate to say that when you said that you have to feel out the emotions, like whether it's anger or something negative or whatever, because we can't be like holding it all in. I gave somebody a piece of advice the other day. I'm like, sometimes we just need to unclench our buttholes.
True, true. Because this is a very good way to get kidney stones, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, when I was working as a diving instructor, everybody was like, no, you don't pee in your wetsuit. And I was like, please pee in your wetsuit. It's okay. Just please pee. We clean them every week. Just pee. It's more healthy. Yeah. I prefer you dealing with that than dealing with kidney stones. I mean, forget. Yeah, it happened. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. So yeah, how are we feeling? I think we're gonna start wrapping it up. Do you have anything to add?
Oh man, that was such a great conversation. I have to say, so many like new findings about human design. So I hope people reach out to you because you're so knowledgeable at like looking into the chart and really dissecting it, and how it's like how it affects like the people around you, especially like when you said that like I activate your sacral. I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's good to know as well. Because I always ask my clients like what is your human design, so I can like tailor the coaching better as well. And it's very useful. So yeah, everybody who's listened to the replay, get in touch with Yael. And yeah, I think like since we talked a lot about the feelings and the emotions and the patterns, just feel it out. Like don't keep all the emotions in your body, because like getting sick after stress is a thing. Like it's like I've seen multiple scenarios of that. So if you have to go yell in the forest or into the pillow or go to a rage room or something, do that, because holding everything in is not healthy. And I mean the world and the situation that we all live in right now is quite crazy. So yeah, that's we just gotta feel it out.
Yeah, and this was really fun. And then that's exactly it. Like, in the end of the day, we need to express ourselves. We need to allow it, even though it's not sexy, even though it's not fancy, but it's human.
Mm-hmm.
We're human being. We get angry, we get sad, we get happy, the whole thing. And what you say is very true because I'm very relational in the way that I coach people
Mm-hmm.
about relation, not necessarily relationships, by the way. But we're gonna leave it at that. And guys, if you are looking into branding, like she's not gonna pet you, I promise. But she's gonna make the things move. She's a magician in that way. All right. So yeah, you can get in touch with us. We're both gonna leave like our stuffing under this live. And as always, it was such a pleasure. And I will
My
talk to you.
pleasure. It's been amazing.
Yeah, talk to you soon. All right.
Bye.
Bye.